They thought it was just another dive, another forgotten wreck lost deep beneath the waves. But the moment they swam inside, something caught their eyes. A face, not floating in the water, not a reflection. A face pressed against the shadows of the ship's broken hull, staring straight at them. And it didn't blink. The divers froze. Their lights flickered across rusted metal and shattered beams. The water was thick, cold, carrying the heavy, metallic smell of salt and decay. Silence wrapped around them, dense and strange, like the wreck itself was holding its breath. This was an old cargo ship, lost nearly a century ago. Maps marked its resting place, but no one had dared get close. Until now. The hull was torn open in jagged pieces, coral and seaweed crawling over its bones. Inside, the divers moved slowly, cautiously, kicking up clouds of sand that swirled like smoke in the dim light. At first, they thought it was a trick, a shadow, maybe a chunk of coral shaped like a face. But the longer they stared, the more it felt alive. The eyes seemed to follow them as they moved through the wreck. Every flicker of their lights made the face seem closer. Watching, waiting. One of them whispered, barely audible through the radio, "Do you see it?" Another nodded, voice trembling. It looks human." They reached out. Gloved hands brushed against rough metal, barnacles, and the cold weight of the ocean pressing all around them. But the face didn't move, didn't react. It just stayed there, silently staring. Then they began to notice other things. Strange scratches on the walls, patterns they couldn't explain. Bits of old clothing tangled in rusted chains. The water felt heavier, almost like the ship itself was pressing down, warning them to leave. Panic began creeping in. One diver kicked backward toward the exit, eyes glued to the face. Another tried to take a picture, but every flash made it look different, more real, more human. They finally reached the edge of the wreck, hearts pounding. When they turned for one last look, the face was gone. Just shadows, rust, and the silent, endless water. Back on the boat, the team reviewed their footage. On the screen, the image was faint, almost washed out. But every diver insisted they had seen it. Experts would later argue it was an illusion. Coral formations, twisted metal, the way light moves underwater. But no one could explain why every diver saw the same face, or why it felt like it was staring at them, even from 100 years beneath the surface. The strangest part? One diver swears that even weeks later, when he closes his eyes at night, he can still see it, just there, watching, waiting, and no one knows what's really inside that wreck, or if it's still waiting for the next curious eyes to meet its own.